Silent but Deadly is a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cartoon that aired as part of the 9th episode of the first season of the Looney Tunes show, and honestly, I didn't like it. And what's actually very entertaining, well, maybe it's not entertaining, maybe it's quite tragic, but apparently, according to Wikipedia, this was actually originally designed to air as part of Laugh Riot, which was going to be a Looney Tunes TV series, and I'd never heard of this. And just as an aside, I read a little bit about it, and according to fandom.com, so that's my source, I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but apparently the pilot was shown to some of the bosses at the top of Warner Brothers. They didn't like it, and most of the staff involved in it were laid off without notice. That's how bad it was. I mean, that's horrendous if that's true. That is absolutely disgusting. But looking at this cartoon, it doesn't surprise me that they didn't like it. Personally, I just think this is not good at all. The animation quality itself is fine, but visually, well, this is going to contradict itself. On the one hand, the animation is well done. But as a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cartoon, it's visually very, very boring, because it starts off with Wile E. Coyote reading a book about how to be a ninja, and then he uses his newfound ninja skills to try and capture the Roadrunner. And it is dull, both in terms of the action, but that's maybe a personal preference thing. Don't care about ninjas, don't care about stories about ninjas, I could not care less. But it's also visually very, very dull. The whole thing has a very, very limited colour palette, and the lighting is terrible. We do have this gorgeous moon, and occasionally we'll see this moon in the background, and that looks quite nice. But the action that's going on in front just isn't that great. Having Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner going head-to-head in this ninja battle just doesn't work for me at all. It makes it seem like they're both working towards the same goal of fighting each other, whereas that's not the case with Roadrunner cartoons. Usually it's just Wile E. Coyote trying to capture Roadrunner, and Roadrunner just usually very easily just going about his business and evading capture, whereas having them fighting head to head like this, it doesn't work. We don't get the usual gorgeous burnt orange colour palette of the Wile E. Coyote cartoons that we normally get. So visually, apart from the bright moon, it is very boring to look at. I don't like the concept of them going head to head. It breaks the mold far more than I would like it to, and if it is true that people lost their jobs because of that pilot, that is awful. I genuinely don't think that should have been the case. I like to think there was more to it than that. Like, I don't know, maybe they'd hired some people specifically to work on this pilot. I don't know. If anybody has any more information, please feel free to let me know. I would just find it kind of hard to accept that they'd fire people just because of a bad pilot. But nevertheless, I can completely understand why they didn't like that particular pilot if this was created for part of that show, because it's not good. So I didn't like it for very specific reasons. Silent but Deadly is not a good Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cartoon.